It's lunchtime and the Brooklyn Cafe is open for business. Live from the Brooklyn Cafe studios, Dawn and Freddie S. and their team are ready to serve up a huge portion of fun for lunch with friends and neighbors. So let's break open that lunch pail and unwrap that sandwich you brought and take a front row seat at the Brooklyn Cafe and get ready to enjoy some humor and hot topics. It's time to get a healthy serving of hope and happiness to help your day go by with a smile. Your hosts, Dawn and Freddie S., are ready to talk about food, health, dating, or just plain dream making. If you have a story to share, or a movie review, restaurant critique, or just a coincidental thing that happened to you, call in free 888-994-4995 right now. Sit back and enjoy your lunch break at the Brooklyn Cafe. Here are your hosts, Dawn and Freddie S.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in to.
Your systems are offline.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
It's good to be back. And welcome to the Brooklyn Cafe on a disastrous Friday afternoon. If one more thing falls and breaks, you're gonna see me up, and I'm out of here. I'm done.
I am telling you. Yeah.
You know, and I see this guy, this kid, coming back and forth. He's making me a little nervous.
At least he's
nervous.
walking back and forth. We've got our in-house psychologist with us. So we got Dr. Laura. Will you be our in-house therapist?
Where's the couch, Doc? Where is the couch? You don't know half of it. It started at 8 o'clock this morning.
Yes.
I got up at 5 o'clock today to get an early start. And I come in here and the alarm doesn't turn off. The police come, they want to arrest me. This one doesn't pick up the phone. And I'm like, listen, if you're going to take me in, you should have to get me at the precinct. What are you going to do? Because they couldn't figure out why the alarm didn't shut off. So I call her, what is the code? I did it, it doesn't shut off. I punched the thing, then shuts off. That was the beginning of my day. Then what you witnessed.
Well, no, then we came in the middle of our show. We lost, the internet went out. The 9 o'clock show.
And then went out. And came back.
So we pivoted and we did our evening show. We got that ready to roll for tonight at 7 o'clock when Dr. Laura walked in. You did a spectacular BYOB. And then the next show comes in and one picture goes down, two pictures goes down, the easel goes down, the curtain goes down,
the curtain goes down,
a picture and a light goes down.
the
It's
lights
a
almost
spicy
went
Friday.
down people's heads.
Yeah.
And now it's thunder.
And
now
now
it's
God is
thundering.
talking. I guess maybe he wants to get our attention because, holy smokes. Now this is, the whole week it's been like that. We had a kid come in here, he takes that television out. We had another kid over there, he takes that television out. I took a $600 camera, it is now a rubble of sand. Took that out. Slick over here, he broke a cup. Spills the ointment all of inside the cup throughout the back. Cleans the glass. I come in to find this one on her hands and knees, picking up all the juice from the glass. They don't put anything in the refrigerator, so all the mixes go sour.
But wait,
So guess who's drinking the sour mix?
but there's more. My computer on Wednesday after I was with you decided to take a bath in Gubba rum. Gone.
No.
Gone.
They're sitting in a
Yeah.
bag of rice.
Shit, I gotta get out of here. Man. I'm just pretty lucky.
No wonder you were spraying nice.
You guys are scary.
And you wonder why I have migraines, Dr. Laura.
Valerie picks up a phone call, comes here, leaves the phone, comes back in, trips on that. Maybe leaving today, trips on that. What the hell?
That doorstep came out of nowhere.
Oh, you didn't, right, never saw the doorstep. So I'm spraying on my clearing spray. Dr. Laura says, just take out your diffuser. I've got this angelic clearing spray. She forgot the oil.
She forgets it. I got a diffuser with no diffuse.
Now, happy Friday, everyone. It's going to get better because it's Friday. We're clearing some things out. And you know what? We'll keep going. So sorry to Fuego for the studio mishap, but that was beyond our control. And at some point, you just got to regroup, take a breath, and start again the next day.
Well, it's funny because I spoke to Gio. He tells me every couple of times a month you have to regroup the rooms, because what happens is that people hit them with the chairs, the curtains get unfolded, and they don't realize it. And then next thing you know, it's raining art.
It's interesting though, because this morning I was reading a post about what, you're not Jewish, but what this holiday means for the Jewish people, and I'm going to defer to
How do you
Raina
know I'm not Jewish?
and Dr. Laura. Okay,
You
you
don't know
can
that.
convert. It's a time of reflection and renewal
I do that every day.
and looking.
You gotta be Jewish to do that?
No, but this is the 10 days that we are supposed to be doing this
You see,
in.
you guys only do it for 10 days. Catholics do it 365 days a year.
Well, Dr. Laura has the benefit of being both right now.
That's right. So my husband is Jewish and I'm Catholic. So yeah,
Two over here.
there you go.
So she's got you covered.
So hold on a second. So what are you?
Me personally, I'm a work in progress. How about that?
That's a good answer.
I like that.
So you know everything about Catholicism? Is that a word?
Catholicism,
That and Jewishism,
Judaism.
Judaism.
I
know both?
am not going to claim to be an expert on either one. So, but
impressed.
I will defer to anybody else who's got more information than me, which is probably exactly.
That's pretty good. She can do both worlds. I told you I would do the bath thing. Isn't that a thing?
The mikveh,
Do what?
the conversion.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's it called?
Mikveh, that's for women, right?
Men and women
Mikveh's
have two
only for
different
women.
baths?
Yeah.
Oh, you
Wait, no,
guys
my
are
son had
really,
that.
really.
Not a mikvah.
A bris.
What's for
Oh,
men?
okay. So yeah, but we put him in the pool.
You did?
Oh, so then he did take
Yeah.
a swim in the mikvah.
Yeah.
So what's it for a man? A mikvah, a sikha, a little
So
vakita?
traditionally, women go into the mikvah.
Talk it to you, Mike.
the week before your period and the week after your period, it's considered in Jewish law like the woman's time.
Of cleansing.
Of course, this is naturally they give you
Speaking
a
of
mic.
woman time, thank you to that amazing woman for turning on my mic. But traditionally, the mikveh is for the woman to sort of clean herself once a month. And observant women, once they've gone through the mikveh, then their husband knows it's time to have sex again.
So this whole thing is about having sex?
Pretty much.
You want to be Jewish?
Hold on a second. So for a guy, we don't get our period. So what do we do?
So the women, before they go into the mikveh, they can't wear makeup. They have to take off their nail polish. So I would say traditionally the man then pays for the mani, the pedi, the blowout after
we
the
get the
mikveh.
pain
You
of
know,
that.
even if you're not religious, I kind of like this idea of like taking a little time out, because I've never been married, but my hypothesis says like it's got to be kind of exciting waiting for the big day, you know?
Trust you
like-
me, the day comes and goes and ain't too big.
It's like, the wait. It's like the
weight of what?
betrothal
The weight of
again.
the world when you get married? What?
The wait, you have 2 weeks. So for 2 weeks, nothing?
Yeah, so basically you have to wait like a week after the period to make sure that like the woman is like
So you got the
totally
week
done.
before, then you got your week of your period, then you got the week after. So you're really only good for about a week.
So 2 weeks actually. So it's the week of the period
every
and then the
month?
week after.
Every month.
Every month?
Yeah.
So you can only have sex like once a month?
No, like
what
2.5
kind of
weeks,
religion
3
is this?
weeks.
Every what?
Like 2.5, 3 weeks. Once you know that the cycle is totally over, then it's
But a
it's
guy
kosher.
can have sex whenever. So you like that's why in the Old Testament you can have 100 wives, right? So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah, but you know, when you get women together, their periods sync up. So wouldn't that be awful to have 100 wives and then all 100 of them be on their period
It's
at
like
the
the red
same
tent.
time?
Imagine what it was like.
I just want to crawl up into a ball in the
Back in the
fetal position.
biblical times, and everyone just lived together, right? Everyone
Yeah.
synced.
What do you mean synced?
Your
Your cycle.
your cycle syncs, so you all get it at the same
That's
time.
why I was a Catholic, and back there I used to put the binoculars and just to wait.
So you're
for
gonna go
the-
hang out with Slick
gosh.
and Vinny a little bit more.
That's horrible.
Go down to Sunny Stop.
Freddie, you've never heard of this phenomenon before?
I have never.
Oh my God, I'll never forget when I went to sleepaway camp, like in middle school, we were in a cabin of 30 girls, and all but one girl on the same day
Oh my
got her
gosh.
period.
You know, have you ever heard of Puerto Rican history? Puerto Rican ways of looking at things. We don't know one day from another. We don't care. Yeah, we're very sure. We don't care.
Sounds like COVID. I guess we're all Puerto Rican now.
The voice of Raina Rose Axelbeard.
Hi.
And we've got Dr. Laura Ellert with us, who did a fantastic BYOB.
Thank you. It was fun.
Now you know why we talked on Wednesday why Fridays are so important.
Yes.
Because if we actually took all of this stuff that just happened today and we synthesized it over the weekend, my brain will explode by Monday, or I'll go into a deep depression or a deep sleep, because this is the end of a week and Friday just kind of blew up. So we need the voice of reason. We need Dr. Laura with us to help us kind of get rolling into Friday. That's why, I'm not observant of Shabbat, but now I really understand why you need that day of reflection and that day to stop. Whether you celebrate the Sabbath on Saturday or on Sunday, you need that day to just stop. And I never stop.
They stopped it today.
Pretty much the angels, right? Did we talk about this?
Yep.
How many times you need to get hit in the head from the angels with that wood or the brick to say you're going to stop?
Yeah.
And you just got to stop and listen. You got to
Yeah.
read the messages, as you say.
And you bring up such a good point, Dawn, because especially now in COVID, with so many businesses going virtual and focusing on posting every single day, if you don't take at least one day or the weekend to take a time out, recharge, maybe even create all your posts in advance so that you're not as stressed out during the week, it's really hard to maintain that motivation without having time to just leave it alone for a little bit.
And you just have to, and we could have, and I feel badly about the Fuego show. Your show was spectacular, BYOB, then everything went crazy. It just needed a reset of about a half hour to stop, reprocess, reset the room, and re-go and redo.
Oh, yeah.
And they didn't want to, and I understand, but
the thing with the challenge is, if you're going to analyze everything in challenge in life, it's like describing a delivery of a birth. Most disgusting thing. If you
actually think about what it is.
I remember my two sons, when they were born, I'm going to tell you, if I write a book, everybody will be thinking about what I saw. But it's supposed to be a beautiful thing. Challenges happen, okay? I don't feel bad for anybody. You have a right to sit and wait till we restructure that room. Get the glass off of there. Whatever's happening in there, remove that can harm you. Now, you got to remember something. That glass cuts that woman's head open, I got a problem.
You're right.
Okay,
Worse than the alarm.
You're right.
Yeah.
So the bottom line is, I ask you, you don't want to wait, and you're going to go. That's on you. Accountability is everything. Excuses are plentiful. Viruses happen. The Black Plague happened. Millions of people have died. It happens. But if you don't learn and sit and try to make heads or tails of it, that's on you. It's not on me. We told everybody shut it down before somebody gets cut open.
I feel I really need your book right now.
I was, just thinking of that,
I'm thinking,
because
what
we're
page am I
talking
going to
about
open it up to?
Yeah, we're talking about resetting, right? And I've been saying all day, you don't have to wait. Let's not wait till Monday to reset. Take a break and let's reset right now. We can regroup and let's make the rest of the day great.
Not only that, but now you have material to talk about. What they should have done.
There's our content.
What they should have done is they should have sat and said, "Do you want to know what just happened? How does this happen?" Right? But if you're going to get up and run, I'm going to tell you something. There is no history on watching a person's back. And I was taught that by my family a long time ago. When people are running in one direction, you ain't going to go in that direction. You're never going to grow. Don't run away from a problem. Sit. Work with me. As opposed to leaving, work with me. I'm sorry. I don't feel bad for anybody.
But I got to tell you, our crew, you watched all this, and Dr. Laura just sat and watched. Slick, Vinny, Mia, Teddy, Val, everyone. They came in, they reset, they got the show off. And again, we could not do this without all of their support.
But they're going to have to give you a little room, because, when there's a fire, you don't keep running into the fire. You sort of turn it out, restructure, and you go. Really simple. I never said to leave. You want to leave, there's a door. I'm not going to stop you. But things happen, right? Viruses happen. It's really bad right now. Wearing a mask is inconvenient. But wear it. Numbers are coming down. Or they're not being reported, or they weren't reported the right way the first time. Who the hell knows? But the bottom line is that we got to get back to making money, to having a business, to be accountable again, and not repeat. This is why I like your book.
Actually, it's really more about having faith, is what I think. And Raina, I'm really glad you're here with Dr. This kind of just came to be because
Is that a rose on the front cover?
Yes, it is.
Well, then we all know I'm exactly where I need to be.
right?
Yep.
You talk about. I just got the chills.
I
That's-
like it because
that's
you-
interesting.
You, get
Because-
to write.
You know what Raina's name is?
No.
Raina Rose. Hey, sis.
Okay, so you know what I talked about today, why the rose is on there.
Tell me.
That my daughter and I became friends with a woman who's a medium back in New York, and the rose is a sign from the universe that everything is going to be okay. So whenever my daughter and I see a rose, we look at each other and we say that's a sign. And one day we were touring LA, and my daughter was like a nervous wreck because we were in like a sketchy area. And I said, relax, look for a sign. She looks up, my daughter's name is Cameron. She looks up, the next street sign says Cam Rose,
Aww.
right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, after my mom raised 3 boys, I guess she threw a rose in there.
There you
so
go.
everything
That's
is gonna be
awesome.
okay.
I love it.
That's pretty amazing. So there, and then there's your sign, right? Where you got Raina Rose, and that tells you as
That-
a sign from the universe that
We're supposed to be here today.
you guys are supposed to connect for whatever reason.
Love it.
It's pretty
What do you
amazing.
think, Freddie? You believe that?
It's funny. We did a show on a lady that brings in flowers, and she was explaining how plants, flowers have frequencies. And one of the reasons that people take plants to people that are sick in hospitals, if you go down back to biblical times, it is the frequency that makes people better. And the rose is one of the highest frequencies among plants.
Wow.
Yes,
And it
is.
cures that ails you. And this is one of the reasons that Kenny Love does his whole program around roses. Roses have been around since the beginning of man. And it is the art of healing. Because when you heal from inside, it sort of comes out and everything else. But it is the frequency of the rose. So it's funny because you're surrounded again by roses when all this other concocted stuff is happening,
Don't mind the garden over here.
which is phenomenal. But think about that. We had that, what's her name?
Patricia Dutch.
Dutch gave us a whole tour, a whole class on how roses heal people, right?
Oh, I gotta watch that. You guys gotta reshare that one.
We should have her come back when she's back in town.
She's back in town, but it's pretty amazing that your sign is the rose, and here comes Raina Rose in roses in the book, and there's really just no way words to describe that is what it is now,
The beauty of connection.
right? 100%.
Connection during COVID, no less.
That's right.
And we didn't get a chance to talk when you were here with Pam. She brought you in to see what we do, but we never really got to talk about what you do.
Yeah.
I would love for you to share what you do because you work with teens, which is a market that really needs some help right now.
Yeah, so hi everyone. It's so exciting to be here. I work as a motivational speaker and mentor for high school students. I've been speaking now for the last decade. I've spoken to over 100,000 people about Israel, the Holocaust, feminism, youth development. And where I'm at in my journey now is I'm the Chief Empowerment Officer, CEO of my own company, The Rose Grows. And what I do is I focus exclusively on high school and college students, and I focus on what I like to call the 4 C's, which is confidence, communication, creativity, and community. And I do all of that through leadership. And really what I do is I challenge young people to think about their future and empower them to take small steps now to build contacts and create opportunities where not only do they get published, but they get a lot more experience in a domain or a cause that they're passionate about.
Publish as far as a book or a show?
So
or
some of my mentees, I have a Romanian mentee. She's working on a podcast. She's a musician. She's a model, and she's an actress. And unfortunately, she faces a lot of bullying because at such a young age, she's doing all of these different things. So we're working together on a podcast where she's actually interviewing different types of artists from all over the world and talking to them about how do you handle criticism when it comes to your craft, learning about their journey. I have one student who, she's a straight A student. She's extremely intelligent. We're working together on a children's book that she wrote about divorce. I have another mentee who, he knows he wants to do something in sports, but he's not totally sure yet. So I helped him set up an interview with a professional athlete trainer. So he got to interview him, write an article, publish that on LinkedIn. Nice. So for the students, it's really podcasts, books, articles. And what's really exciting is for me at 28, I've created a podcast with Holocaust survivors. I'm about to come out with a children's book. So a lot of these things I'm learning in my 20s, working with teens, it's really an opportunity for me to give back.
Are you at a center, or they're just different teens from all over the community?
Yeah, so I do all of my work online, which, before COVID, it would have never dawned on me that I could have a mentee in Romania or
No
I
pun
could have a
intended.
mentee in Israel. And I think the coolest thing for the kids is, with everything going on right now, the children are so isolated. In my group mentorship program, Teen Tribe, to be able to hear what other teens are facing around the world, I'd say that although there's lots of programs that exist for teens, because my program was created through COVID, I think what's most unique about Teen Tribe is it really teaches teens how to listen, right? You might have your own beliefs, but then when you meet other young people around the country, it really gives them, sort of like a front seat into a different perspective.
And you just started this during COVID, I should say.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And how do they find you?
So I would say most of my marketing is all through social media. I'd say most of my leads come in through Facebook and LinkedIn. And I work with teens who are 13 to 18, and not all of them are straight A students. Not all of them have, necessarily been involved with leadership before. I'm really skilled at meeting teens where they're at and empowering them to do that first big thing with what they have.
Wow. That's amazing.
Thank you.
We have had, it's sort of been in hiatus over the summer, what's it called, the Cafe Press. They renamed it, which is our online newsletter / magazine. And the girl that was editing for us and doing it all, she got a job.
Wow.
And since then, my time of writing, I'm not like a really good writer, content creator. I can do this all day long, but when it comes down to writing it, it's really not my thing. But maybe we can work with some of your teens to help put this out.
Totally. And some advice that I could give you, and I would love to give the listeners at home, a lot of my teens say the same thing. They're like, Raina, I'm not a writer. And I say that's fine, because if you record the interview, just like you record all the shows, there's a website called Otter, OTTER.ai, and you can actually load a video file into Otter, and it will transcribe the entire interview.
Wow.
So what I tell the teens is, listen, don't freak out, do the interview, then let's look at the copy, and you know what, just highlight the things that you find interesting. A little copy paste action, a little intro, a little conclusion, and bam, you got an article.
That's awesome. And we talked about this when you were here before. I would love to work with you and them, because this is a missing market that we don't have. We have the adult side of it. We've got our kids side. We've got the millennials, our young adults. But there's this group in between that exists that we don't get the opportunity to represent.
Right, and it's so important to recognize too, and I'm sure you can expand on this. Is most young people right now are spending anywhere from 4 to 7 hours a day on TikTok, and I like to kind of describe TikTok as sort of like the junk mail of platforms, and there is some quality content on there, but unfortunately, there's also a lot of really horrific content. Recently, there was someone who committed suicide on the app. Unfortunately, when it comes to Holocaust, you see people sexualizing Anne Frank, dressing up as Holocaust survivors. I have a friend who has a rare form of dwarfism, and he was telling me too on the app, the videos that are made in regards to people who are disabled, the app isn't monitoring what's going on there. So as parents, it is your responsibility to know what your child is consuming. And it is a part of your obligation to teach your child that just because something is on a platform, like, you need to speak up. If you see something horrific, then you need to be the one to flag it. It's kind of like when something happens, they're like, oh, everybody else is going to call 911, but then nobody does, right? And if we know that the kids are spending this much time on the phone, then let's utilize social media for social impact.
For positive, agreed.
It's funny because before the epidemic, we did a lot of things bad.
It's
And
true.
communication was on the list of our kids don't do it anymore. They talk to their phones. My son and his girlfriend were watching a movie. I was in the room, and they were communicating, and they're right next to each other.
Isn't that the worst?
Via the phone. And I said, are you guys serious? Turn off your phones. And one of the things that now it has revealed just how poorly we have done that. And they are now required to do things like what you're talking about. But they're learning it.
Right.
They're learning communications. They're learning that there's another life outside of a phone.
Right, and it's important to recognize, like, social media is a tool to create relationships and to enhance existing ones. It was never meant to replace the relationship building process.
Correct. Correct.
And that's the difference.
And I want you to hold on to, I want to go back to the marketing aspect and the do's and don'ts of how social media can hurt you or help you, how it works, how it doesn't work, how people tend to think that that is the do-all and the all of all without having content to present, without having a good train of thought, without having something that people are going to listen to, because the attention span used to be 30 seconds. I think it's down to 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And everybody has something else to do because they got to get the new hustle. And it ain't one hustle no more. Now it's maybe 1, 2, or 3 hustles just to get back.
Yeah. It's so true. I've noticed recently when I go to write articles or I go to write really long Facebook posts, you know, usually my last sentence is like the most interesting, is the one that goes bam. And recently what I've been doing is I take after I've written the whole thing, I take my last sentence, I make that the first sentence, because exactly what you said. If you don't get them in on that first 3 seconds, forget about it.
Great idea.
It's true. And the teens also. And so much, does this resonate with you, Dr. Laura?
Absolutely. I see it when I work with teenagers. Their attention span, if I'm doing therapy with them, it's out the window. They cannot concentrate on a thought for longer than 10 seconds. And even with the phone, you know, they bring the phones with them everywhere. Just saying, can we just put the phone down and have a conversation for a second? Just, you know, just you and I. You don't have to look at your phone to find out how you feel. I'm asking you how you feel. The answer's not there. The answer's like right here. And it's teaching them again. I have to tell you, during the pandemic, I played a lot of games of Trouble, but it was fantastic to see like the stack of all of the board games and to have my kids actually engage. Like, we engaged and we did some things because, you know, after a while, 8 hours of TikTok gets a little boring.
It's so true.
Yeah.
Well, and the funny thing is that you're going to ask kids to learn now virtually in a what they call in home environment, which is kind of loosey-goosey. Good luck with that, because they're not even prepped for it. You know, you're asking them to do it, and the shine is going to get off that penny in the first month, and good luck with that.
And you know who's really not prepped for it is the parents.
That's right.
Oh, forget about it. Yes, absolutely.
You know, the children are definitely suffering, but we also need to acknowledge that the parents are dealing with a lot. And I really want to acknowledge the parents in some communities who are coming together and saying, okay, you know what? I'll come to your house today and work with your kids so that you can clean the house and that you can run the errands. And then the next day you'll come to my house and you'll work with my kids.
There's so much of the emotional side of it, and it's funny that we've got 3 authors in here at one time. We've got Amy Minty with us of For Strictly Gamble. We've got the Wisdom from the Universe from Dr. Laura, and I know your book is out there. We just don't have a copy of it yet because I know your story and your book, but I totally would be remiss if we did not talk about RBG while you're still on set and what she meant and means to women. And for you, Raina, what does her memory mean to you?
It's interesting because I saw a documentary on RBG like a couple years ago, and it really, really moved me. And I was just like, wow, what a powerful woman. That's so amazing. And, you know, when I started doing female empowerment presentations, like learning in the 90s that it first became a law that it used to be that it wasn't considered a rape if a woman didn't consent to have sex with her husband, or learning that women couldn't open up a credit card if they weren't married. All these things that RBG, you know, changed. And I lecture about, it wasn't until she died that I realized that she was the force of change behind those different things. So I think like the biggest thing that I can take from her story is that sometimes in life, you're going to make a difference and you're going to make an impact. And sometimes people might know your name. Sometimes they do know your name, but the impact is what's the most inspirational thing, is that, you know, her legacy is here shaping and changing the lives of women for generations to come. And, you know, one of the biggest points I make with young women is, you know, if you are a woman living in democracy, if you are a woman living in America, it doesn't matter what challenges you think you have or how poor you might be. You are richer than most of the women in the world, and don't ever forget it.
You know, it's really interesting. And Amy, I want you to pick up a mic. It's interesting that you bring this up, because a lot of things that go on, and I want to ask Doc's opinion. Women, like, she died, and people talk about her, that it really influenced what happened in their life. And we were talking about some of the kids about this yesterday, and they take it for granted that it was somebody who actually put this forward. You know, there were things that she wrote about. People took the time to read it.
She was a fighter.
And she was. And I didn't even know half the things that she is being given credit for.
Right.
Because I took it for granted. It must have come out of the sky. I don't know where it came from. But even credit card stuff, all the same marriage stuff that went on and everything else that's going on in this country. I mean, but reading is fundamental. Just reading about what's going on has become a skill all of a sudden. And the virus has just shown us how poorly we have actually taken to these things. With libraries, all they have become movie theaters. And it's all about the video now. It's about the TikTok video. It's about the YouTube video.
That we're losing the education of, my grandmother always said, books are your friend. We're losing that actually to sit down and delve into a good book. And Amy, like these 5 books, and number 6 is coming. This book, Wisdom from the Universe, what you say, we talked about RGB on Monday, and you said to me, why now do we discuss her? Why didn't I ever bring her up before? But it's much like what you said, Raina. I spent the weekend and I watched her documentary, and I actually learned more about her influence on the world, on women, than I realized, because did I take it for granted 100%? And shame on me for not being educated more to see her impact. Right. And I think sometimes, again, we take that reflective pause and say, wow, why we have to look at this when somebody passes instead of while they are alive, that the memory becomes bigger once they pass, and we learn of what she did for women. I was able, yesterday, you said about credit cards, I had to get a new computer, so I went on. If I did this credit card, I got 12 months free financing. Boom, in 5 minutes I had a new computer and a new credit card, right? Without what she put forward and things for women, we may not have had that opportunity.
Right.
That we should not take for granted,
Right.
and you're right.
And what a role model too. You know, there's so many leaders out there. I mean, including myself, I'm definitely guilty of this, where we do a lot of self-promotion. We talk about, you know, all the things that we've done and all the things that we're doing. And anytime that I ever saw her in the media, it was always about the work. I don't remember her ever talking about herself as much as she always talked about the country.
And Dr. Laura, I want to ask you, because in the documentary, you see her kids, her daughter, wasn't always, didn't say my mom was the most amazing mother. She didn't do this. At some point there's a give. We can't do all of it great. And it seems, based on the documentary, that she gave to her work. She gave to the greater good of humanity. And maybe not the 110% to raising her kids. But her kids got raised. She has a beautiful family, and her husband, I think, picked up a lot of that. Is there always a give and take?
That is the $1 million question, because as we're seeing in this country, I mean, we are blessed in this country, but we do have a lot of difficulties in this country in terms of the duality and the dichotomy that, you know, you shouldn't work and be a mom at the same time, that you can't do both well. And also our expectations of what a good mom or a good parent is have changed dramatically over the years, especially with, you know, helicopter parenting. I mean, I was class mom for all 3 of my kids, and that was great. And I had a job where I was able to balance that, but I still felt guilty that I wasn't doing enough. And that's in the media, that's all over the place, and we have to let that go, because we can all just do what we can do. And I think she was an absolute role model. But when you are serving a higher purpose, a greater purpose, there is a sacrifice.
Yeah.
And I think when kids are young, they may not recognize that. Doesn't sound like her kids were deprived by any, in any way, shape, or form. But she gave a lot of her life to the cause, and all of humanity benefits because of that. And I'm sure,
Yes.
looking at it now, I can't imagine that her kids aren't proud.
Amen.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, what a great set of powerful women we have. Pretty good to be you right now.
I'm not gonna say nothing.
Let's go to commercial break. When we come back, we've got Amy Minty in the house, author of these spectacular books for Strip or Gamble. Book 6 is actually on the credenza over there. We've got Raina Rose and we've got Dr. Laura joining us. So stay tuned and we'll be right back.
For Strip or Gamble, a novel by Amy Minty explores the lifestyle of one man throughout the crucial time of his life. Spanning 3 women, 4 decades, their lives are all intertwined. High-stakes poker, passion, intrigue, and revenge. All on the mysterious Las Vegas Strip. Get your copy now at amyminty.com or amazon.com. What more do you need right now? For Strip or Gamble, available now on amyminty.com and amazon.com.
AskDearAbby.com. Dear Abby is a life coaching company that was founded by Abby Awotasu. At Dear Abby, we believe in empowering single women to unapologetically own their identities and grow in self-love. We know that in order for you to find true, meaningful, lasting love, you must first love and fully embrace yourself, flaws and all. Contact us today at AskDearAbby.com for your personalized coaching session that will get you on the path to ultimately finding your soulmate. And follow Dear Abby on social media at AskDearAbby on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is. The most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned into.
Your systems are offline.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Even though some things are far away, we plan for them ahead of time because they're important. When it comes to your celebration of life, it's really no different. You want to plan ahead now so your family doesn't have to later, and create a service that reflects your values, character, and traditions, no matter what they may be. At Dignity Memorial, we listen to every detail and make sure everyone is remembered.
You've been watching the Brooklyn Cafe Show. Join us each day and after hours as we talk about the hot topics to open the conversations and share a few laughs. Now, back to Dawn and Freddie S.
And set change. Boom, bam, nice job. So, bam, and there comes the rain.
I get real nervous when this guy's around me.
They take good care of you. Welcome back to the Brooklyn Cafe Show. Wow,
Amy, I found
on
another use for your book.
On a fun Friday for sure. We're going to put, who's that, Freddie? Queen.
Queen.
What did you walk right in front of the camera?
I need a buffering.
Oh my goodness. Welcome back, everyone. What a great conversation we're having. We've got Amy Minty joining us. We've moved some seats around. Amy, meet Dr. Laura. Raina, meet Dr. Laura, and Amy Minty. 3 amazing authors on the deck for Strip or for Gamble. Came out right, talk about what came out during the pandemic. This came out right in the middle of everything. Just grab your mic.
May
Which one is
25th.
on?
It is on, but I don't know if they know.
They know.
A1?
A1, guys.
A4. A4.
A4. I was thinking about we've been working with us for so long, and I've lost track of time on your next book because we take it for granted that, oh, here comes your next book. But this is really the book that we're focusing on for Strip or for Gamble.
Yeah,
It
pretty
came out
much.
in May. I mean, in the middle of all this chaos, you've got another great book that came out. I'm gonna change it. Another fantastic book that came out.
That's just
Well,
this is
it
the
was
way
just, it was
things
actually, it's Dawn, it should have been out, I don't know, February, March.
Oh, okay.
And then, because of the pandemic, everything was delayed within the factories and the production of the actual books and novels.
They had to get more ink.
Yeah, you know what? They had to get more employees to operate in the factories.
You
That's
know,
what they had to do.
Sure, someone's got to
I
print
know,
and put
I
it
know it
together.
sounds funny, but they couldn't get ink delivered. This is a true story for the publishing companies.
It might
And
be.
and they could not get enough ink for the books, and that's what slowed down all the production. It's a true story.
It's interesting.
I read that. But none the worse. But sometimes book reading carries a lot of messages depending on what the book is. If you look at the Bible and people read that, that's about 1,000 books per chapter because everybody has a different interpretation. What I like about what you write about is that it gives you an opportunity to relive some of the things that happen in your life. You're the reason why I have White Castle in the refrigerator. Yeah.
I can't be the only reason, Freddie. Right? I can't be the only reason you got White Castle.
Well, you're the only reason because I've been here almost a year now. I've been on this set 5 years. I've always talked about it. I got to talk to the owner, she lives in Ohio, of White Castle Incorporated. And she promised me White Castles and never got here. And if you look in the freezer, it's in there.
I saw it last week.
That's right. And the reason it's here is because it wasn't this one. It was the other manuscript that you're putting together. And it started to bring back things that went on, things that I lived through, things that I learned from. And my kids they laugh. Everybody laughs at me because I learned through history. I learned that the best books written are the ones that are read. If you write the greatest book and nobody reads it, is it a great book? And I think that sometimes people try so hard to get their book read, to get their word out. When you look at the author and you sit down with them long enough and you'll say, you know something, I got to read this because I've met her. And I want to learn more about who she is. Now, anybody who knows this young woman, you got to see what she does on Facebook. She's all over. She's been a hot dog. She's been a hamburger. She's been on a haunted house. She's been everywhere. So there is plenty of people who know Amy Minty, but is there? Who is Amy Minty? Who is Amy Minty of all these 5 books, number 6 over there? Who is she? Do you want to get to know who she is, or do you want to get to know what she writes?
Or both.
Or both. But isn't that, this is what I've learned. I never read, Amy. I never took the time to read. I am as guilty of a flawed system as there is in the past. I never read, and I'm being very honest, until now. And all of a sudden, I'm reading books on the weekend. I'm reading all of her books on the weekend. I read the other one, I started reading it, and then they took it away from me. I haven't seen the chapter because everybody in here is reading it. I can't get my hands on it.
There, I got them.
And the bottom line is that I've gone back to basics. I've learned that in the Word, in what people's thoughts are, you begin to generate your own thoughts. And I am shocked. It wasn't when I was at NYU, when I was a student down in Washington Square, and I used to sit in the park with a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, I used to learn. And all of a sudden, I'm learning again. And that's the difference between picking up a book that makes sense because you're going to experience it and just picking up a book and running through its pages.
It's interesting. We just had a major chaotic day today. Upside down. Dr. Laura was here to witness it. Raina came in on the tail end of it.
Ow!
And I have to say that actually to stop now and reflect, and we had to take this collective, I call it an actionable pause, because we could not have a show. I told you, the show always goes. But this actionable pause, if we just sat, we regroup that studio, and we go forward. And I feel like this is what the world needs. If this is the moment of that brick hitting or the piece of wood saying you need to stop, that was our moment to say, you know what, guys? You need to stop, regroup, rethink things through. Take a book. Take this weekend, take your book and sit and read and spend some time with your family. It's the holidays. I keep talking about, but this is the end of our 10 days of awe. And it culminates Sunday night, Monday. It's this time of reflection, but take some time and read. This book for Strip or Gamble, just read it. It's amazing. It'll take you through, what are some of the highlights for it to take people through, Amy?
Well, basically old Las Vegas is like the main draw on that. And, you know, each character, each female, I should say, protagonist in that novel faces their own kryptonite in one way or another. So they're just, they have challenges, but they overcome them. And obviously I can't give that much away, but they're resilient and they're strong and they're sassy and they're smart and they go forward.
And it's old Vegas. So everything you think is represented in this book about old Vegas is there. And there's the thrill, there's sex, there's love, there's lust, there's the casinos, there's a little bit of different activities going on.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What you think old Vegas is?
It's mainly about gambling and in their situation, all three characters love cards. They love they love an energetic environment where they can thrive.
But there's also a sense of family.
Yeah, there's a sense of I wouldn't even say
and
family.
Like allegiance. There's sisters and connections, and it's not just walk in, you gamble, and you leave. There's really, you tie all of these people together, and their connections.
Well, their connection is really through this one gentleman who is the main character of the book. So their connection lies within the focus. The focus is Nick Terlotta. So, and he is something else to be reckoned with, and each woman faces him in a different scenario.
Now, this book is different from the others that you wrote, correct?
They're all different, yes.
Each one is different. If you were to have a main theme connecting all of these books, what would it be?
It would be female empowerment, and like you were discussing before. Just the fact that keep going, do your best, and if it works out, great. Essentially, there's a strength and unity within themselves, I believe, in my characters, in all of them. So all the books are, in that sense, the same.
Giving women a choice, empowerment. When you say the word, I find it interesting because as empowerment among women is growing every day, leaps and bounds, its definition has changed because every woman has a different interpretation. I met Doc here, and she blew me out the water because she took me through another whole sphere of this thing. Joy with the scientific background. Holy smokes. I mean, 2 weeks you've produced nothing but empowerment, but to you, what does the word empowerment mean for a woman?
Just having the confidence to do what you want to do without, succumbing to societal pressures and whatever else gets in your way.
Don't look over your shoulder.
Exactly. Don't look behind your back.
Doc, how do you feel about a statement like that? Can you hear that? Does it resonate with?
I think it resonates. I think what empowerment means, first of all, I think is unique to each individual and what's going on in their own personal life and what they're trying to reach towards. But I think as a whole, I think the empowerment movement has changed maybe, from the 1950s, let's say, through today, because women's roles have changed. And let's say men's roles have changed too. So, as women become more empowered, obviously a man has to step up to the plate in a different way as well. So everyone's role has changed, but empowerment to me is doing what's right for you without thinking about that somebody else is going to disapprove of it. And there's always somebody who's going to disapprove. And we talked about it the other day with gossip and with rumors and with all that stuff that goes on where women still, in spite of this empowerment movement, still have a tendency to try to tear each other down. So we're not quite there yet because the sisterhood is what's important. The idea that we can support each other and raise each other up. That, to me, is the key to empowerment, is not just individual, I can raise myself up, but as all of us raise up, it becomes better for every single one of us. And that goes back to the whole, Ruth Bader Ginsburg that we were talking about, too, is you're taking one for the entire team, and it improves humanity as a whole.
Interesting.
And I agree with that.
Women have changed, and in my belief, men have to adapt, because we have to understand what change means, what it means to you. You have to understand the growth of it, and we have to sort of adapt to it, not to overshadow everything that we touch as men. Sometimes we learn more of a lesson by taking a knee and saying, okay, let me learn something. So that's the change. So I was going to ask you, Amy, in your books, women, the key word for women is empowerment. For men, adaptability. Is that fair to say? Can men read the book?
Absolutely, men can read the book. And they don't, for men, adaptability, they're not probably going to get it from that particular book, because that gentleman never changes. He never learns. He never grows. He doesn't evolve. So therefore, you're not going to learn it from First River Gamble. And many of my male protagonists, you probably don't learn it, but then therein lies
the lesson.
Yeah, correct. Had that character changed, maybe it wouldn't turn out the way it turned out, but then it wouldn't be the same book. So it's hard to say on that one.
It's interesting. What's the name of the king? The guy that does the horror books, and then they turn him into
Stephen King.
Stephen King. Every time you hear his name, you know somebody's going to die. Something's going to die. It could be a guy, a girl. Something's going to blow up and die, right? And it's kind of funny because whenever he issues a book now, it's just his name. And they go like this with the book, and it comes out, and Stephen King, you don't even know the name of the book. You go to the bookstore and it says, I want King's latest book.
But it's the name, it's the branding.
Yes.
And Dr. Laura has written 2 books. And you told me, because you just hosted your own show.
Right, right.
You said the difference between book 1 and book 2 of getting known was what?
Branding was knowing who I was, what my message was, and also taking control of that book and that message, and making sure that what I was putting out was consistent with who I was and what I wanted everybody to get from the book too.
And what is your first book?
My first book is called Total Wellness for Mommies. And like I said, it's a good book, but I wasn't as hands-on with that book as I was with this book. And this book has, like I said, it's got the rose on the cover. Everything speaks to what I want to communicate to people, and the other book did not. And I see the big difference just in terms of my energy in putting the book out there as well.
So your delivery, you learn from book 1 to book 2.
Right.
Your delivery change.
Right.
And you become more commonplace. So when people see that second book, they're going to know that it's like she's becomes king with the horror ones.
But it's so much of branding, and Amy's out there all the time. Branding and dancing and
whatever it takes.
And social media and doing all of these pieces. Yeah. But the congruence between the two is what's important.
What's your second book?
It's called Wisdom from the Universe.
Oh.
It's I
like that
a
title.
Journal.
Yeah. It's a journal book.
Oh.
And what I like about this book is that you have to write in the actual words. And you're going to be held accountable from here to 5 years. Mm-hmm. If your life don't turn out the way, you read the book, it says, I didn't do this. I said I was going to do this, but I didn't do it. And what I like about reading material is that men are going to learn. You're going to learn what not to do, because sometimes that's more important than what to do. You know, you can do a whole lot more with less than you can not doing anything. And I think that people are going to learn. I think that the more people talk to you, they're going to learn. There's a whole philosophy, a whole science behind this. And it's funny because we've been doing a ton of research on the betterment of Amy's books. We've talked to a ton of different authors. We had an author on here. She has a #1 Amazon bestseller. It doesn't come out till next month. How the hell does that happen?
I don't even think she knows.
She doesn't. She says, I don't know what to tell you, she tells me.
I don't
but
think
the
she knows how
bottom
it
line
happened.
here is that there is no philosophy or truth, but people are common in truth, because truth don't lie. And when you are your book, when you walk in the light and not in the shadow, all of a sudden you become your book. All of a sudden, I mean, I asked this lady to show up today because I wanted her to meet you. These people were handpicked to come and meet you. And I begged her to come. I even bribed her with a BYOB to come, because I think that she's outstanding in delivery. I think you stand clearly for what you want to do, and that book is outstanding in its message. Same thing with these. I mean, I you know, eventually I will get the ones that you bring in here when they sort of give me a chance. But I can think back of my life, of things that you went through, because she grew up in New York as well. And we were in the same parts of New York City at similar times. I mean, I'm older than her, similar times, and things didn't change as much. But I'm looking at what's happening now. It's like the clock has started all over again. Drive-in movies are back. All of these things that we used to do in those days are
That's
back.
what's so great about this book also for Stripper Gamble, because it's old Vegas. And Vegas right now, is it even open?
Parts of it,
Part
parts of
right?
it.
Sort of.
But it's not like it was when the theme behind
It's not like it was in February.
And it's not like it was right when you think back to when old Vegas.
No,
certainly
but
has
old
changed.
Vegas was not like February either.
Right, exactly.
They're going to open up Vegas, I think, in November. I heard there's some big concerts and things that are going to, they're going to sort of move people around. They're going to have a 5-place concert.
You're not thinking-
There's going to be a big fight coming out in November. You have Holyfield and Tyson, not Holyfield.
Yeah, MGM.
Tyson, yeah.
Yeah.
Tyson, I mean, the old folk fight. is
I'm not
coming
sure there's going to be a huge audience for it, though.
Well, you know what? We're going to find out.
Yeah, I know.
I went down to the Keys about 4 weeks ago, Memorial Day, whatever it was.
Yeah, Labor Day, actually.
Labor Day, that was the first time they had people. They weren't ready, but they were. Everybody was required to wear a mask and everything else. Had a great time. I felt safe. Everywhere you went, they sprayed you down with sanitizer. Even walking in the street was craziness.
I've heard the Keys is very, very careful and safe.
They are. They
Yeah,
are
I've
very-
heard it's
so
great.
I think that Vegas is looking. I know that they opened up the bars because I saw Monday Night Football and the Raiders won, and they had opened up the bars, but they kept everybody distant because just like New Orleans, when you have those clusters, you don't want to make mistakes. But it's entertaining to see that Vegas is going to have to start all over and come back slow.
And Slick says men should, he wanted to come in and tell you, but he says men should definitely be reading for Strip or Gamble, he says.
I know, you hear him in the background.
I love Slick.
All secrets are revealed in this sexy thriller about power, crime, gambling, and the mafia set in the casinos of old Las Vegas and the clubs of New York City. So you've got your coast to coast. I don't know where Slick went.
He's
coast
coming
to
around.
coast. Who's here, Jay?
Jay's here.
Oh, okay.
Artist of Mr. Jay Harmon.
How you doing, Jay? Good to see you.
Have a seat at the, have a seat at the bar, Jay. At the
There
Southern-
you go. That'd be a cool segment for you, Amy, also. What? We'd do a whole bar segment, like a Vegas bar segment.
Are we about to? Seems that way.
Friday, why not? Amy, how do people find your books?
Amazon, Amy Minty, plug in my name, and or my website, amyminty.com.
So for Stripper for Gamble is the most recent. It came out in May, and there are 4 other books: For Love or Sanity, For Sex or Revenge, For Better or Money, and For Sink or Swim. And then there's a whole nother book coming out that she's in the throes of, and we're on chapter 9, right? There are 2 parts
That's
of 8
correct.
and 1 of 9. So stay tuned, more to come. We're going to go to commercial break, and we'll be right back. Or maybe not.
Or maybe not.
Maybe we'll just stay on.
At Carmen Care Advanced Laser Therapy, our professional team specializes in finding the best alternative laser therapy treatments for your painful conditions. Do you suffer with chronic pain, a post-traumatic injury, or simply looking for the benefits of cell rejuvenation to the skin? Schedule a consultation today to understand how photobiomodulation can help reduce your symptoms, reduce or even eliminate pain. Give us a call today, 561-405-9577. We focus on treating you who has a disease, not a disease that defines who you are. Contact Carmen Care Laser Therapy today, 561-405-9577 or carmencarelaser.com.
TV and WNN Money Talk Radio have been in conjoint business for 10 years. They have been working around the clock, nonstop, to promote over 500 shows and businesses reaching all over South Florida. With added platforms such as social media live streaming, podcasts, and the specialty of live radio, it has never been easier to get your voice heard by millions of listeners. To amplify your impact and start your show today, contact AMP2TV at 866-224-5422. That's 866-224-5422.
Healing Moments Wellness Boutique specializes in integrating scientific and ancient therapies to relieve physical, emotional, and psychological distress. Through the power of touch, coaching, and meditation, clients experience pain relief, relaxation, healing, and detoxification. Contact Healing Moments Wellness Boutique at 561-931-2187 and experience Boca Raton's Healing Haven. Enjoy the benefits of an individualized treatment plan to help find your feelings of peace, complete balance, and wellness. Call Healing Moments today, 561-931-2187, and be rejuvenated.
You've been watching the Brooklyn Cafe Show. Join us each day and after hours as we talk about the hot topics to open the conversations and share a few laughs. Now, back to Dawn and Freddie S.
Working of 3 authors. Rain, I keep calling you an author because I know there's a book, and I don't even know if you have the book. Do you? You do. You're shaking your head.
Yes. So the book is actually going to be published probably in the next month. Okay. It's a children's book. It's called The Girl Who Said Hello to Everyone. Unfortunately, out of nowhere, I lost my father 2 years ago. And they say that you should always write when you're feeling certain emotions because your feelings sort of filter your words. So I had written this like very sweet poem about how my dad taught me to be kind and always to make everybody feel like they matter and to make people feel special. So I teamed up with a childhood friend and asked her to illustrate the poem, and now we've got a children's book.
Wow, what's the name of it?
The Girl Who Said Hello to Everyone by Raina Rose Exelbierd. It's illustrated by Alan Chapman, and when I reached out to the illustrator, who I haven't seen since 5th grade. I reached out to her just because she was a really good doodler, and even though she beat me for class president, I got past those feelings. And when she said, yes, I'd love to illustrate the book for you, her name is Allie, but my late father's name was Alan, and she goes by Allie because her real name is Alan. So when she said yes, and I realized, oh my God, her name is Alan, I kind of looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, okay, Raina Rose, you better follow through with this one.
Wow.
And that was March, and here we are.
You're definitely following the signs. That's amazing. I cannot wait to see it, to have you do a reading.
That would be so
Some of the kids'
fun.
book authors are contacting me that because we have our Kids Network on Saturdays, and Veggie Vero, she does children's readings and she records and airs them. Can they do the same thing? So we would love to be able to air that on Saturday also.
You rock.
And that is why our Teen Network needs some representation, because that's the one area that we're not quite getting to, and it's really, really important. Yeah, I keep seeing 3 authors. Wow, what an amazing set. And Amy, we didn't ask you, RGB. What her?
How do I feel? I just feel tremendous loss.
For what she's done for women?
Absolutely, yeah. She was a big pioneer behind the whole thing.
Did you realize the amount of things that she stood for until?
I did a little, not the not everything, but I did know basically how I saw a really good actual movie. What was that movie called, Ron? Do you remember?
The Basis of Sex?
Yes, called The Basis of Sex, and that movie actually, even though I wasn't ignorant, but I didn't know enough, and that movie really helped me learn more, and I thought she was amazing. I have not seen the documentary, the RGB.
I watched the documentary over the weekend, and everyone else was watching football, and I'm watching this documentary, but it was just this calling that I thought, wow, I would be so remiss if I did not actually watch what this was, and it was nominated for an award, but so many amazing things. I got to tell you, where we sit today with all of these incredible women, when you and I first started this journey 10 seasons ago, someone came to us and asked you, do you have any women empowerment shows? They were looking out in California. And
it was actually a director from Warner Bros.
Called you and said, I'm looking for a women empowerment show, women empowerment piece. I don't have any. This is California. This is only 5 years ago. This isn't even like that long ago. We had one. Yeah. And it was Alexa Rose, another Rose. Oh my gosh, now you just gave me the chills again. Alexa Rose Carlin, and she started this women empowerment, WEX. And that was the first year we covered that event, and that's 4 years ago. And she has now gone on to she's about your age, incredible things. But imagine in just 4 years, how far we've come as women. And I didn't think 4 years ago we were lacking anything.
Well, Dawn, we also had the Me Too movement, which hurried things along a little bit, unfortunately.
It's pretty,
it had to come down to that.
I feel like we're equal, but apparently the whole world doesn't seem to feel we are equal.
We always have been equal.
Right?
It's just about other people feeling the same way.
It's the most interesting
Men,
thing.
that is.
Yeah, and for me too, I thought wow, granddaughter of Holocaust survivors, we've come really far. But even when I graduated college and was working in the nonprofit world, it's really important that you communicate with each other about your salaries, because unfortunately, in the nonprofit world especially, you can see a huge difference in how men and women are being paid. And until more women collectively speak up and approach management about those issues, then we really can't count on a difference to be made in a particular organization.
It's interesting. And then this morning we were talking, we were doing our evening show this morning, and we're talking about what's one word that describes everyone. You didn't see Dr. Laura's show, but you have brought this prop with you. Mm-hmm. Can you have it
Sure,
handy?
bring it out, sure.
And I said to her, it's like Amy came in last week. We were going to do cheeseburgers, and she made this cheeseburger video 2 days before. Today we were going to talk about doing Tostitos. We were going to do what you can eat with a scoop. She walks with a bag of Doritos. Like, the synergy is crazy, right? And this morning we're talking about what one word describes you, and I said, what is that? And you pop up this poster with words.
Right. So this is a board that actually I got at the Holocaust Museum in New York City. I'm going to say about 7 years ago, 5 to 7 years ago. And I just loved it because it was about what your core values are and what you stand for. And originally I was using it with kids and teenagers in therapy who weren't so in tune with themselves and were having a hard time expressing themselves. So I figured, let me just give them the vocabulary to be able to do it. And I really started to develop more and more activities with it, because I found that it's empowering for everybody. That people who have not had the opportunity to sit down and actually reflect and think, okay, am I living my life according to the values that I have picked out here that represent me? And I find it in women who are coming out of toxic relationships, whose identities have been smothered. They look at this and go, gosh, a long time ago I remember being creative and caring. And so it's a way for people to also get back to themselves.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So are there certain words that resonate? Amy, like if you looked at that, certain words that resonate with you?
Well, the biggest word that resonates with me is empathy. I think that's probably the most, and accountability would be second. I feel like those, if you don't have either of those qualities or feelings, what good are you,
Raina, did you look at earlier? Empathy is important. And empathy versus sympathy, two different emotions.
Yeah, very different. Yeah, one should be able to, be empathetic with almost anything.
It's interesting because in a man's world, baseball, Major League Baseball, is something that men think they control. And my New York Mets were just sold, it hasn't been approved, to Cohen, a $14 billion man. He's going to be the highest, most wealthiest owner of a major franchise in the history of the game when they approve him. And one of the things that they asked him, who would be the president of the team, because he's cleaning house. And a woman's name came up, who happens to be running an organization called the New York Yankees within their front office. And then I looked in Google to find out how many women are involved in the major league game. And I'm not going to give out names and everything else, but there's a senior vice president that runs Major League Baseball. It's a female, and she's Asian.
Really? Highest
ranking Asian woman in Major League sports. And I'm looking at all the names that are coming forward now. They even have umpires, they got coaches, the Yankees have coaches and everything else. But think about this. In the history of the game, there's never been a general manager, a president of an organization, And the Mets may be the first, because there's a few names in the hats that are coming forward. The funny thing is that nobody wants to talk about it, but if you look at 30-30 that came out last week, it came out. Cohen hasn't been approved yet. I know that he announced that he would use his friend Allison to come and run the team and everything else, but that wasn't his first choice. And I have on the inside track as to why. There's a lot of fear, but women are getting more notoriety in the aspect of the game because they're not as close to the flame, is what they're saying. And they see players for who they are, not what you think you should be. And if you look at the Mets season this year, they're not going to make the playoffs, and that's really disappointing.
Well, that's interesting. I think that goes to the empathy side.
Well, there's a lot that is involved with what Freddie just said. And isn't Ron, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't there a football woman who runs an entire team, Kansas City? What? There's an owner. She's a female owner, correct? Who is that? Would you give me the name?
But there's also, yes, and you also have the Cincinnati Reds. You have, what is it? Willa was in there.
But there's another that I'm thinking of that
these teams,
she's
owners,
fantastic.
I think they're owners because their husbands died, no?
Right.
It
was,
I'm talking about
through
being
default.
Being appointed based on skill. Like the Yankees brought in a batting coach. And I'm going to tell you something. This woman can hit the hell out of a baseball.
Right. At least she was able to achieve the skill. Someone let her. You know what I mean?
Somebody opened that door.
Correct. Yeah.
But it's funny because all of a sudden there ain't no more door openings. Now this door is being unlocked. And the game is going to change. And it's becoming a different type of game. And there are some decisions that have to be made. And when guys are too close to the flame and they're just looking at names, you know, they're paying millions and millions of dollars to people allegedly that can play this game because a guy sort of puts his hand with a beer around a guy and says, I'm going to hire you. And a woman comes and says, no, we're not. There ain't no business entity. There's no ROI. Is that what they call it?
It's different.
So the game is changing.
Right. Well, I'd also want to add, you know, one of my really good friends, Jen Penosa, she's a little bit older than me. She's a really good friend, and I'd like to say a mentor. She's one of the only females who works in sports technology. In fact, she works for the company who does all of the stats for Major League Baseball. And I hear it from her too. On the corporate side, there are very few women involved in sports. So I don't think it's just about who we see on the field. I think it's also about who's building the budgets and pushing the paperwork and making the decisions that go behind making sure those players are on the field. And I can tell you right now, because of COVID and all of these major sports teams having to, you know, adapt virtually, she right now is a big part of the major pivot that we're seeing in sports. And, you know, something that I didn't realize until the whole movement with Black Lives Matter is, you know, even outside of women, when it comes to football, you know, team owners who are African American or head coaches who are African American, they almost don't exist. So I think if there's, you know, anything that we really need to be evaluating right now is just recognizing that there is space for more than, you know, white males. But a big part of that has to be, you know, us again collectively speaking up and asking and demanding for that representation. It's not going to just happen.
There is one TV show that has about sports that has women's empowerment. I don't know if you guys have seen Brockmire, but it is hysterically funny, but it has a great women's empowerment theme.
Absolutely. Amanda Peet with baseball specifically.
Interesting.
Freddie, you have not seen Brockmire?
I have.
Okay, so you know then.
Oh, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
But the interesting aspect of what's going on in front of us right now is that everything is changing. And again, going back to the virus, stop doing the same things you used to do back then that weren't working. Maybe go into a new atmosphere, go into a new beginning, a new change, a new look. Start something new is what I'm talking about. You know, read more. You know, don't put things to the side and say, oh, I know everything. You don't know everything.
Stop for a moment and just stop. Just take that actionable pause. That's the one word I learned in that course. They say come up with these key terms. This is a term I made up in my mind. An actionable pause. Not just to stop. We have to take action, but it doesn't mean we have to keep going so fast but we have to take that action. It takes time to stop and reflect and renew. And on that, I want to take a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk to Jay a little bit. And I got to tell you, Raina, this road, I can't say it's haunting because it happens to be behind you right now. Both of my great-grandmother's name were Rose.
Aww.
And there's the rose, and we've got you and this book, and you're all going to make me cry.
Freddie, you're in a rose garden right now. That's what it
But
means.
the first girl I dated at 9 years old, and it was Rose.
And I got to tell you, Clara, who did the Vegas strip song, she's commenting about your knowledge of the rose is quite compelling.
Because I'm going to tell you something. My favorite movie of all time, what's it called?
The Rose. The Rose. And on that note, we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back.
At Carmen Care Advanced
job,
Laser
everybody.
Therapy, our professional team specializes in finding the best alternative laser therapy treatments for your painful conditions. Do you suffer with chronic pain, a post-traumatic injury, or simply looking for the benefits of cell rejuvenation to the skin? Schedule a consultation today to understand how photobiomodulation can help reduce your symptoms, reduce or even eliminate pain. Give us a call today, 561-405-9577. We focus on treating you who has a disease, not a disease that defines who you are. Contact Carmen Care Laser Therapy today, 561-405-9577 or carmencarelaser.com.
AskDearAbby.com. Dear Abby is a life coaching company that was founded by Abby Awotasu. At Dear Abby, we believe in empowering single women to unapologetically own their identities and grow in self-love. We know that in order for you to find true, meaningful, lasting love, you must first love and fully embrace yourself, flaws and all. Contact us today at AskDearAbby.com for your personalized coaching session that will get you on the path to ultimately finding your soulmate. And follow Dear Abby on social media at AskDearAbby on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
Amp Media Productions and WNN Money Talk Radio have been in conjoint business for 10 years. They've been working around the clock nonstop to promote over 500 shows and businesses reaching all over South Florida. With added platforms such as social media live streaming, podcasts, and the specialty of live radio, it's never been easier to get your voice heard by millions of listeners. To amplify your impact and start your show today, contact Amp Media Productions at 866-224-5422. That's 866-224-5422.
For Strip or Gamble, a novel by Amy Minty, explores the lifestyle of one man throughout the crucial time of his life. Spanning 3 women, 4 decades, their lives are all intertwined. High-stakes poker, passion, intrigue, and revenge. All on the mysterious Las Vegas Strip. Get your copy now at amyminty.com or amazon.com. What more do you need right now?
You've been watching the Brooklyn Cafe Show. Join us each day and after hours as we talk about the hot topics to open the conversations and share a few laughs. Now, back to Dawn and Freddie S.
And we're back.
And we're back at the Brooklyn Cafe Show. We haven't had a chance to talk to Jay.
Yes, Jay is over there sitting all by his lonesome. Now, Jay does a show here on Thursday nights, which is really quite interesting as well. Different twist of arts, because he does his in pencil, and you would think that these are pictures. And these are all done in pencil, and he teaches you how to do it. So he has a show on Thursday nights that he's teaching people. We're going to be putting a seminar together for kids as well as adults. And Jay, I told Jay to come in here because it's always better to get artists out and to add to the mix, to the influence, because the doors are opening, and we're going to have to start doing more and more to get things done. And I asked Jay just to come down and have a good time, and and to be himself, and that's okay. That's just part. It's just all part of what's going on today. That's all.
Dr. Laura keeps shaking her head.
That was an amazing
Have you
save.
seen so many things go on at one time?
You would think it's Friday the 13th. I don't get it.
That's because Saturn is in retrograde.
Is that why?
That's why. Now, do you know what even that means?
All I heard was
Does anybody
retro.
know what that means? Do you know?
I hear it said a lot about Mercury being in retrograde and how it messes everybody up. So I know that, to be aware that when they use that word, that means I better like lock myself inside for a while.
I was told that the planets rotate opposite of what they normally do. In other words, if it goes like that, it's not going like that.
But
Well, that's what's going on today, right?
It absolutely is, right? Slick, we're going to move all that stuff off the floor.
And it's
also,
funny
hang
because
those,
if
please.
you take your right leg and you go counterclockwise, turn counterclockwise, and you take your right
Or just
arm
put 'em on the
and
table
you
for
try
now.
to draw the number 6, you can't do it.
What do you mean?
Go ahead. No, you got to turn your foot counterclockwise.
And he's going to get me trying to do this.
I'm telling you the truth. If you can do it,
Okay,
I'll
if
give
I
you-
can
I'll
turn
give
my
you a
foot
drink.
counterclockwise.
Your right foot, that would be your left.
Okay.
Counter, that's count. No,
No, that's clockwise. That's
You can do
counterclockwise.
this.
Clockwise.
Clockwise.
Now turn and do the number 6 with your right arm.
I hope this isn't secretly something offensive that he's.
That's a circle. That's not the number 6. The
Oh
number
my
6
gosh,
is
that's
like this.
hard.
You shake it all out.
He makes his stuff up. He's going to be, I can't believe you guys
No,
are all
count,
doing
you're-
this.
Count clockwise. Clockwise.
Clockwise,
No, clockwise.
yes.
That's counter.
No, that's
Clockwise
counterclockwise.
goes to the
Clockwise.
right. Jeez Louise.
Wait, is 6 the right way 6 or
the
backwards
6.
6?
And you got to do the number 6.
And
No,
they
that's
can't.
You can't do it.
No, I can't do it.
And I learned this last night because Saturn is in retrograde.
Oh, that's why.
That's the
That's
only
the-
reason why we can't do it.
That and a bottle of tequila will get you anywhere.
Welcome to Freddie's Mind on a Friday.
But if you can't do it, I give you a book of Amy Minty's book. It's on me. If you can do it, you can't. Physically, you cannot be done.
How would my book help in this particular case? Oh, okay. I
It's
see.
a surprise, and the prize goes to.
I'm just curious. Have I written something I don't even understand how great it is? Like,
Just a surprise. Just if you can do it, let us know. And Freddie's book's on him. We're
And
gonna
let
send
me
you
know,
a
too.
Copy up for strip or
If you
for
can
gamble.
do it, if you can do it, then I'm going to take you to the Harvard School of Medicine because
And don't forget to tag the Brooklyn Cafe Show in all your videos and your pets. We can't wait to see it.
Fridays with Freddie. There you go.
your pets, you have your dog doing it. I'll die. Yeah.
hey, TikTok has a lot of dogs.
Does it?
Yeah, huh? It's pretty funny.
Are you on TikTok?
Yeah, sort of. I mean, I don't really, not much, but
Thank you
I
so
tried it in the beginning. I didn't really get it and continue not to get it. So do I
Well,
try
it's
it
like doing
often?
something.
I don't know. It's something that doesn't jive quite well with me, but too bad. I'll doesn't mean I don't like it. I love watching it. It's hysterical.
It's branding and marketing.
But no, yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, I can't really. I've been lucky with Facebook and Facebook Live, and you know, I don't even really Instagram. I should get better with, but don't like that either.
I can
don't
help
like
you.
I don't like Twitter. It sucks. Sorry,
I didn't even
shouldn't
know
say that.
TikTok had an audience.
It has
Oh,
a
just
very
a few billion people.
No,
you
Yeah.
that's people, but they're scattered.
It's-
Everything's scattered. No, it's not like 21 to 30. You can't break it down that way, can you?
If you want to, you
yeah,
can.
you
Oh,
could.
you can.
It's actually
Yeah,
younger
I'm
than that.
sure.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
And yeah, getting back to the actual question you asked me, TikTok is very, very young, but very funny. It just depends on what you want to watch. And smart. It's done smart. I think it's smart.
You have 15 seconds.
Yeah, that's why it has to be fast. Or now it's a minute, and you can like increase it. But it really is a lot of lip syncing involved, which is kind of nice because I hear you would like it, Freddie, perhaps for this reason that people lip sync like comedy shows, and they're just doing it in their kitchen, and it's like different. So it's kind of like a funny take on things, you know. So I don't know. I happen to watch TikTok a lot. I'm just not good at it yet.
Yeah.
You know,
just gonna keep
TikTok
doing
used to
more.
be 6 seconds at one time.
Well, I'm sure it was. Now it's
they, remember
now
when we
the
did first one?
15, and but most of them are a minute now, and it's pretty funny.
And I wanted to ask you because I don't know if you did. Did you ever find a haunted house that you were looking for? I know you found
Everything is haunted.
Oh,
Freddie.
Death and Glory in Delray Beach.
I know
They
Death and Glory.
they have a haunted house set up. It opened on Tuesday.
Really?
Really?
Take it from the girl who puts Ray in Delray. Check out Death and Glory's haunted house.
That's cool. I must know more about that.
Death and Glory. We actually good friends in Death and Glory. They actually know us, and we had Spider. What was his name? Spider Cherry. He was
I've heard
singing
of
there
Death
one
and
day.
Glory.
Wow.
You know what's so honorable about that restaurant? I don't actually
okay.
know any of the players there, but when COVID first happened and all the restaurants were shut down, they were one of the few restaurants who paid out each of their employees $1,000 so that they could meet,
Wow.
their bills and pay
Awesome.
their rent. So
And the
good
Just
people,
great
good
ambassador.
food, and a haunted atmosphere.
Where is the actual address of that?
So it's on Federal, like 2 blocks past Atlantic.
Just north of Atlantic.
Mm-hmm.
North of Atlantic.
North of Atlantic on the west
So,
side of the street.
Fifth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Really
Got it.
nice. Really nice place. Nice place.
She may be coming to us from For Death or Glory.
I know. Well,
One day, 'cause they have a great little
yes.
tiki bar there, but it's not outside, but it's undercovers. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That could be your
I
haunted
think
house.
I I know the establishment. It used to be something different, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Many times.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I know it.
It's been
Now there's a lighthouse up in.
Jupiter.
Is it?
It's
Where
in
Kelsey
Jupiter.
is?
There's
There's one
only
in
one.
Jupiter.
There's
Yeah.
only one lighthouse around here. It's Jupiter.
Okay, and that one's haunted.
Oh.
They told me that one was haunted.
Wow.
Then it's not Jupiter. Myrtle Beach? No, not Myrtle.
That's
the
South
one-
Carolina.
Yeah.
No, that's not. No. Which is the city north of Jupiter? There's another. There's another lighthouse.
There may be another lighthouse.
I'm gonna
I
get you the
don't
name. I thought that's where you
All
were
right.
going.
Stewart?
No.
No,
I
it's
don't-
further north. They told me that it has a ghost in it, and I looked it up, and they said it's.
St. Augustine does.
Yeah, you go.
Yes, yes. Thank you,
There you
Jim.
go.
I've been there.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I've seen the ghost.
The voice
yeah.
from beyond.
There you go.
This is awesome.
St. Augustine.
Tell us
has
about
You
it.
saw a ghost?
Yeah, it's
Yeah, please.
no, they've had it documented about the ghost of St. Augustine in there. There's a couple of them actually. I went on a ghost tour in St. Augustine, and what they had was one part of the tour. They took you to a place near the lighthouse. Apparently, the lighthouse keeper at one time, this was back like 1920s, he had to go and check something at night. He left his 2 daughters and the daughter of his housekeeper in his car. He left the car running, okay, while he went up to check the lighthouse. While he was up there, somehow the car got out of neutral. I mean, went into drive and drove directly into the water, drowning the 3 little girls.
Oh my gosh.
Dun, dun, dun.
And they now is part of the thing that you can go there, and they have actually seen the orbs and the spirit things in the playground, which is there for the for these girls. And then there is another. There's a lot of crazy stuff, but something that I actually experienced was to go into the Freddie would know how to pronounce this, Castillo de Marcus or whatever.
Castillo de Marcus.
The fort.
The big fort. In there was a thing where they said if you would like to go into this little room, it's only the room itself has a door that's only like 3 feet high. And if you go in there, it was like when the castle was a fort, they used this room to hide or to put their cannonballs and things in there. That's all it was. But it was rumored, I guess, that there were one soldier and his girlfriend were on the roof, and they were, they were having quite an evening. And she always wore rose.
Again?
Rose stuff. There we go. Yeah, roses again.
Back
Again
at
with
it
the
again.
roses?
And it was she had this rose scent, and apparently somehow the roof gave way and they fell down in, and they were trapped in that room, and that nobody even knew about.
Wow.
And so apparently, they were never, well, they found them when they finally discovered this room. They went in there, and I went into the room by myself.
Ooh.
And I said, I want to check this out. I said, I was half believing it, half not. And I went in this room, and there is a smell of roses when you go into this room. It's just really weird. You just notice it. And no.
No one's been spraying it? Like,
No.
are you sure?
I don't know.
Diffuser.
I don't know. Maybe somebody goes down there every night and sprays it. I don't know.
I mean, I believe in haunted. Trust me.
But the one thing that they couldn't do,
This is a true story.
I know it is.
I was in there by myself taking pictures, and it wasn't until I came back out that I looked at the pictures, and all the pictures had orbs all over. I mean, just they were like, wow, this was just like an incredible thing. And so after that I said, yeah, oh, okay, I get it, I believe it, and it's
It's funny. I stayed in the Keys by the lighthouse. And in this lighthouse, the father and the two daughters died in the hurricane, and the mother survived. And they have a statue of the mother at the bottom. So I got to stay in a room that if you looked up, it was right there. It was like this light bulb. And at 3 o'clock in the morning, if you looked up and looked at the light, and I'm not going to tell you the rest, I want you to go check out what you see.
Wow.
And everybody came out and they looked, and everybody now is like this, and they cannot believe what they see. Go check it out.
All right, we're going to go to commercial break. When we come back, we've got Padrinos in the house because it is National Comic Book Day, and of course, it is National Quesadilla Day. So no better way to celebrate and kick off our Fun Friday with Freddie. We've got Gubba Rum joining us. We've got Padrinos in the house. And a lot of rose, this is all I can say. So stay tuned.
Do you smell it?
We'll be right back. Welcome to your vacation staycation. And what better way to kick back than to blend up a sweet pina colada, a smooth mojito, or just a nice stiff rum and coke. If you want true relaxation and enjoyment, then you want Gubba Rum. Gubba Rum is a unique rum infusion. Gubba Silver Rum is infused with real shredded coconut, and Gubba Rum Gold is infused with real shredded vanilla bean. Both are made with certified organic ingredients. Each infused Gubba Rum is 35% ABV, 70 proof, and as we say in Boston, wicked smooth. So if you're looking for the best combination of taste, smoothness, quality, and price, your clear choice is Gubba Rum. If you want that wicked smooth taste for yourself or your vacation staycation, visit GubbaRum.com to find your closest liquor store that carries Gubba Rum Gold and Gubba Rum Silver. Gubba Rum, it's wicked smooth.
Healing Moments Wellness Boutique specializes in integrating scientific and ancient therapies to relieve physical, emotional, and psychological distress. Through the power of touch, coaching, and meditation, clients experience pain relief, relaxation, healing, and detoxification. Contact Healing Moments Wellness Boutique at 561-931-2187 and experience Boca Raton's Healing Haven. Enjoy the benefits of an individualized treatment plan to help find your feelings of peace, complete balance, and wellness. Call Healing Moments today, 561-931-2187, and be rejuvenated.
If a tree falls in the woods and no one is around to hear it, does it make a sound? Have you ever felt that your voice goes unheard? And you think that you can make a difference if only someone would just listen? It's time for women in business to have a place to step into your power, a platform to embrace your hopes, dreams, and your visions, a voice to heal and restore. Your voice can make a difference. We have the platform to share your story and let your voice be heard. Be kind to yourself. Give yourself the chance to be heard and shine bright. Contact New Dawn Media by texting CAFE to 80800. That's CAFE to 80800.
So let's spread your business like a wildfire. Spotlight your business, ideas, and events through our Brooklyn Cafe TV channel on Amazon Fire. Contact us at 888-224-5422 for more information. Let the whole town, even the whole country, know your message with a click of a button. Together, we ignite.
AMP2 TV and WNN Money Talk Radio have been in conjoint business for 10 years. They have been working around the clock, nonstop, to promote over 500 shows and businesses reaching all over South Florida. With added platforms such as social media live streaming, podcasts, and the specialty of live radio, it has never been easier to get your voice heard by millions of listeners. To amplify your impact and start your show today, contact AMP2 TV at 866-224-5422. That's 866-224-5422.
You've been watching the Brooklyn Cafe Show. Join us each day and after hours as we talk about the hot topics to open the conversations and share a few laughs. Now, back to Dawn and Freddie S.
We're gonna be able to go around. And it keeps happening. Look, even Slick is excited.
Slick, you hungry? No, he had lunch. He sat down. He enjoyed a leisurely lunch. We've got Teddy running 25 things. We've got Val running back. Is Mia still here? Awesome. We got everyone running all over the place. We've got Padrinos in the house. Welcome.
Now, is it Padrinos or is Padrino?
Well, if it's in English, it's Padrinos, and in Spanish, it's Padrinos.
So it's Spanish Padrino, which is Godfather.
That's also our last name, so it wasn't just a funny, cute thing. It's actually our
Whoa,
last
your
name.
last
Yeah.
name is Godfather?
It's Padrino. Well,
De verdad, really?
Yeah.
You gotta be kidding.
Yeah. Yes, but that's Cuban Godfather, not Italian, so it's not so scary.
Wow, that's interesting. Padrinos.
And Padrinos has been in West Boca for a very long time.
Very long time, yeah, over 20 years, and in business since 1976. Mm-hmm.
It's all the way out by where you are, on 441 and Glades, and I remember going out there all the time. How has business been during all of this?
So the Boca location is doing well. We recently remodeled, actually right before all this happened, right at the start of 2020. We reopened after a 6-month remodel, and the remodel reflects more of our third generation. So my dad started it, and now it looks a little bit more like us. So unfortunately, after doing really well after the remodel, we had to close with COVID, and we were only doing takeout. But now we're back to dine-in and doing pretty well. The other locations are faring okay. It's obviously very difficult. So we're doing dine-in, takeout, obviously. Catering is slow because nobody.
I was going to say, you're too young to have been there 20 years ago, and I took my kids there. So you're the next generation taking it over.
We are. I was certainly there. I just might have not been working there. Or at least maybe I was playing hostess, but I wasn't working there. Yep, so we've been there for a while.
Teddy, we can just pass them out.
Yeah, just do what you
pass
gotta
some
do.
food out
It
with
doesn't matter. You can cross the
just
camera.
cross in front. You got
So
the plates.
I want to ask because
And how does she know Steve?
I have no idea. When he comes on, we'll ask.
Yeah.
When Steve
So-
Gobb comes in, bring him over, guys.
Yeah, so Steve, I met Steve actually. There's a, I call it like the Rum Renaissance. It's a rum festival every year, and he was dining into our Fort Lauderdale location. We had recently just opened, and I was the bartender. We just opened. I was doing a little bit of everything. Happened to be the bartender last night, and him and a couple guys came in. And I love rum, and it's our restaurant, so I get to pick what goes at the bar. And so they came and dined in, noticed some of the rum behind the bar, and we started talking. And then, oh, hey, Steve. And then,
hey, how are you?
Good. And so he had a couple of bottles with him. We tried his rum, and it was great. And then tried it again at the show the next day.
Steve seems to know everybody.
It seems that way.
He knows everybody. Now, I want to, Steve, before we bring you in here, I want to know the location. So 441 in Glades.
Right, so that's in the Mission Bay Plaza. That's the Boca location.
Is in what plaza?
The Mission Bay Plaza on Glades and 441.
What the hell is
What was that? Nice, Val. God bless you. I'm glad you're not near the food.
Do you know the movie theater is right next to you over there?
That was a long, long time ago. Now there's an LA Fitness.
It's on the other side of the street.
Dick's Sporting Goods.
Okay, but if you cross the street
Oh, yes, on the other side, there's
the
a...
Regal
the-
movie theater is in the.
But there's an Office Max or there used to be an Office Max. There used to be a Toys R Us.
Is Home Depot, Publix, Benihana.
Because the reason I'm saying this is because the movie theater is opened up.
It's on the northwest side of the street.
It's somewhere over there.
Yeah,
I go to
there
each
is.
corner. So what I like to do is I like to go down, have dinner, and then go to the movie theater.
yep.
Because I got like 40 different coupons, and they said I can see like 10 movies. It's like ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I just try to get the location of where it is. Now, do you guys have Gubba Rum on the premises?
Not currently. We for a little bit we had it at the Fort Lauderdale locations, but we don't right now. Just
Oh, we gotta give you a bottle.
I have it at my house. I
You
just
have it
don't-
at your house?
I have it at my house.
Well, we
I'm,
can go to your house and have some booze too. Hey, Steve, we're going to his house to have some Gubba Rum.
What do we
I'll
have
be
here? You
right
brought
down.
some
What time-
juice. It's like you're dropping money.
I'll be.
Yes.
What time is
Yeah,
dinner?
so we
We'll
brought
be
some
down.
croquetas, ham croquetas, super traditional. Actually, in a couple days, next week, October 1st is National Croqueta Day. And then the other one is a black bean salsa. There's a National Everything Day.
These are delicious.
There is, and somehow that one is next week, and we know about it because you got to be in the know.
That's another one.
She said croqueta.
Croqueta.
Yeah, these are excellent, by the way.
Yes, thank you. And then the black bean salsa is just a fresh option that we
Okay,
have
what is
for
a
the
croqueta?
croqueta is what you're looking at there.
I
So
know,
the
but what
inside
is
could
in
be
it?
that one is ham, but the inside could be pretty much anything. There could be chicken. Yeah, you can do beef. I mean, for the most part, ham is popular. We had for a while a yuca croqueta. That was our grandfather's recipe, but those are ham.
This is
And then
delicious.
The mariquitas are the plantain chips that you have there. It's like the Cuban chips and dip.
Wow.
Yep.
Hey, Steve, eat your heart out, Steve.
Yeah, I don't want any.
So
It's
you were
okay,
asking about the
thanks. I wish,
locations.
you
We'll
know,
have 6 actually.
Nobody's
in
bringing
total.
me a plate.
So the closest one to here is in Boca, like you said, Mission Bay Plaza, Glazing 441. But we have one in Fort Lauderdale, like he was mentioning, on US 1, just north of Sunrise. Then in Plantation, that's also been there for a very long time in the Fountains Shopping Center. And then we have Hallandale Beach, been there for a very long time as well, since the 80s. And then Dania Point, we've only been open since last year. But Dania Point is a new shopping center, and we're in there. We also have one in Orlando as well.
Your third generation.
Yep.
Your grandfather or your grandparents?
My grandfather, yep. My dad's
started
dad.
Coming from
Cuba?
here? From
Yeah.
Cuba, he came and just said, let me start this restaurant, and it grew into this incredible chain.
Yeah, so kind of. So he didn't have restaurants in mind. He actually came pretty late in life. Actually, he was 60 when he started the restaurant, 61. And imagine starting completely over at that point. And he had one location. He didn't think restaurants. He actually was from a grocery store background. But because there was already competition down here, he kind of had an opportunity for a restaurant. And then my grandmother was the chef, the cook, the one with all the recipes. He was the business side, and gave it over to my dad when he was very young. And my dad, instead of just what my grandfather would do is kind of like make it big and then sell it and start over, my dad said, let me just grow this one thing that we have. And then it got the name Padrinos. My dad expanded it. And now over the last about 10 years, my brothers and I, there's 3 of us with Gen 3 as we call it, and we're developing 3.0. So it's still my grandmother's recipes, my dad's focus and attention to service, with our new twist on ambiance, trying to make it the full, well-rounded experience of everything. And we've added also the full bar, where before they were just doing the wine and beer. Now we focused on, cocktails, and again, just the overall guest experience that we see people want more now.
It's such a great family restaurant. There's one right near my parents. I remember taking the kids growing up because you could always take the kids. It was fine. They
Yeah.
could play on the floor. They could eat whatever. You had.
Oh yeah, we love that. Yeah, play on the floor all the time. No, it is. It has been known as a family
You
restaurant.
put us in the corner with this
Yeah.
big round table.
Yeah.
We would meet friends there, and because there weren't very many restaurants that were kid friendly, where you
Right.
could actually bring your kids and let them do what they had to do.
Yeah.
And you could still enjoy being with friends. So this goes back a lot. My kids are grown now. They're probably your age.
And that's what actually we hear that all the time. So that's what we're kind of trying to cater to now is, we did have a lot of those kids that would play on the floor and come with their parents, but now that you are not coming with your parents anymore, you want to come with your possibly spouse, or now you're even your own kids. Now we have kids. And it's just kind of, giving it a place for them instead of just like the family place. I used to go with grandma, or I used to go with my parents. No, now I want to go myself. So
Instead of playing on the floor, you can have a cocktail.
Yeah.
But that's
You end up in the same spot, but it's,
maybe you end up on the floor, but
Can I go?
You want to play on the floor, Freddie? But it just lends itself, just shows you how long you guys have been in business. And as a family, you're now Gen 3 taking this over. And Steve, thank you so much for the introduction because, wow, to have Padrinos on our show was unbelievable.
Eddie's a great guy, and he gave you the story about when we met. It was a couple of years ago at the Miami Rum Festival, which was being held in Fort Lauderdale, and there were about 16 of us at the table having a fabulous dinner, talking rum, more importantly, drinking rum, and we had a great time. And Eddie is a terrific guy. I want to say that he's, a lot of business people sometimes today, they're not quite so nice. If you text them, they don't text back. You call them, they don't call back. Eddie returns every phone call. He is a super guy, let me tell you.
Super guy.
I try. Thank you.
Is it all family owned or are you a franchise?
No, family owned. People call us a chain, and I like to say we're a collection. We're all still family owned. I don't really love the word chain because now you're thinking that we got bought out or other people are. No, we own all of them. We have managers that we trust and have been with us for a very long time at all of them. We know, I could say probably most of our employees we know by name. I mean, you maybe know all of them, but we are still very much involved. We all have our different roles. My dad has stepped back a little bit. He right now focuses on the culture, and we're kind of more operations in the day-to-day, but very much still family owned and operated. Yeah.
Amazing. So, Steve, when you're texting us late last night, because Freddie and I were here late last night.
I know.
About Laura coming, and I said, yes, Laura is coming. Okay, this is Dr. Laura in the black. And you said, no. I thought she was coming at 1:30, and I said, no, Dr. Laura's coming early. And you said, I'm so confused. You weren't even answering. And then I realized it was Laura from Padrinos. We had two Lauras.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with texting.
Yeah.
And especially texting
That's
late at
why
night.
I didn't answer. I didn't want to. I said, don't do nothing.
Yeah.
But
Late
it's all
at night.
good. Now you understand the confusion.
Yeah, no, late at night, believe me, I would text always before calling. It's an intrusion otherwise. And if I may, I just want to say, Laura, it's very nice to meet you from 1,200 miles away. We've never met before.
You
And
too.
it's very nice to meet you.
Yes, you as well. Thanks for the intro.
Thank you. Thank
And
you.
a full bar, all the restaurants?
Not all the restaurants. So only the ones that have transitioned to 3.0, as we call it, which was Fort Lauderdale that Steve was at. And then the Dania Point, the new one. And then again, we remodeled Boca to have that full bar now, which if you haven't been there for a long time, you have to come by and see the remodel. I mean, someone else can tell you who designed it.
So she does all anything pretty you see in the restaurants, her. Anything practical's me.
So yeah, I didn't want to take the credit, but I designed it. So if you go in there, you got to check out the design and the new look. It's very updated. So you got to see what that looks like. And then our last location in Orlando, they also have a full
Do you
bar
have
as
any
well.
TVs?
We have one at the bar, yes.
So we can go to the bar tomorrow night. We can watch the Hurricane FSU game.
Definitely.
No.
Definitely.
It's a huge game, I gotta tell you.
No, don't do that.
All about the Canes? All about the U?
Yes.
Yeah. Big game tomorrow night, is all I can tell you.
I had to deal with this all week. I got Benny Blades. I got everybody. And, the only school in Florida must be Miami. Because everybody's gone there. Everybody walks around like this.
Wait till Tuesday. This girl who's coming on, her grandfather was the founding athletic director.
Of course he is.
Of the University of Miami.
Our brother went there. Well, he actually went to FSU as well, but he went.
Talk about a house divided.
From Miami.
All of Dawn's family goes there. Now, the funny thing is, before you came on the show, we were talking about how women have changed the environment of business. We're talking about Major League Baseball. We're talking about the football, NFL. And here again, it's the touch because you're putting these things together.
Sure.
And guys, we have to adapt because the bottom line here, there are certain things that women are better at than we are, and that's okay with that. But I wanted to ask you in the future, because we have to bring people back slowly. The restaurant business needs a shot in the arm. Whatever we can do to make it better, safely, and everything else.
Sure.
Anything in the future coming up that we should know about?
Yeah, so absolutely. Everything that you're saying about that we need that shot in the arm. Yeah, things definitely have been slower since we reopened. But for everybody to know, everything we're doing, we're abiding by all safety regulations, everything CDC. You should feel absolutely safe there. I mean, when all this first started, we kind of were hesitant to let everybody know what we're doing because it's what we were doing all along. We've always been a very clean place. We've always very much paid attention to all of these things. Now it's going to be more obvious and evident because we're obviously wiping down things in front of you and wearing masks and things like that. And of course, everything in the kitchen is very clean. We are very popular for the, very famous for the buffet. And I don't know if you remember that. We haven't done that yet. Obviously, that's not something that's going to be super popular right now. But dine in and take out, very much still happening right now. You can order online. If you are still not comfortable, we have ordering online. We have delivery available. And for coming in, if you have a group, even though we're not allowed to do large groups, we can accommodate. We have dividers if you want to have like a private meeting, whatever it might be, to still abide by the guidelines, but make you feel very comfortable there. So we are starting to take and getting more reservations for birthdays, things like this. Again, still abiding by all the rules.
Everything is delicious.
I like that because Miami, they didn't learn that lesson the first time around, and I hope they do.
I think they're near
now.
Freddie's house.
They're right down by Freddie's house, and the movie theater is right over there.
Yes.
So I'm going to be able to go.
Pop-up, you should
and
take
go.
Rowan for dinner
I'm
to
thinking,
Padrino's.
is he going to play on the floor?
Let him play on the
Oh,
floor.
you're just ridiculous. But
Well,
I
there's no carpet floors anymore, so maybe it might be a little more uncomfortable for them. But
I remember the carpet floors. Yes, the corner window by the front.
I know exactly.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it doesn't look like that anymore. You got to come by and see it.
I got to come by and see it. I'm excited because I haven't really ventured into any restaurants. We've been to one in 7 months, but it's nice. I'll go to the ones that we know the owners and we know that they're clean. So Uncle Mike's and now Padrino. So it's nice to know. It just adds to the trustworthy factor of what we do.
Well, some of the things that we used to do before this thing hit is we used to go to remotes and do it from different places.
Sure.
We were at the iPick opening. They picked us of everybody to do the one in Atlantic. We know the guy very well, the owner, and he sat with us for 2 hours. He was supposed to do an interview with us for 15 minutes. He canceled his plane and stayed with us. We did it in the lobby of the place. We did pop-ups and everything else. Biggest night they had was opening night.
Yeah.
And I want to do more things that way. I want to introduce people in that kind of setting. I know that we can't have 100 people, but whatever numbers we have and the rest we will bring in virtually as well. We have the technology to do that. But I want to bring it back slowly to give people the confidence that if you go to places that are doing what you were doing from before, you're just doing it even more now, that you come out, that it's okay to leave your house. There's an illness, Doc. There's an illness where people are afraid to go out. I can't remember the name of it.
I've heard people say, are you talking about specific to COVID or just agoraphobia?
No, like
oh,
there are certain people
agoraphobia?
that have like a phobia. They have like acne, they won't go out.
Yeah,
They
agoraphobia.
have Stevitis, they don't go out.
Yeah. There are people who unfortunately are locked in,
And we want to overcome that stigma. We want to come back safely. We want to come back slowly. The food in itself is delicious.
Everyone got food?
I'm John. I already ate my
Delicious.
plate. Pretty good stuff.
Everything was delicious. Thank you
Delicious.
so much.
Okay,
Thank you.
good, good.
Absolutely.
There's
Yes.
a couple little things to
Croquettes.
try.
What do you call them? Croquettes, right?
Croquetas.
Croquettes. Yeah, I didn't have your accent.
Croquettes.
Yes,
That's
but
fine.
they're amazing. Thank you.
So
Very
it's
good.
mostly Cuban food?
Not mostly, entirely Cuban
Entirely
food. Yeah,
Cuban,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. We
Excellent.
want to be authentic Cuban food. We try not to be really fusion. It's just my grandma's recipes. Black bean salsa, that was me. But that's just we've like added a couple things.
You know your
Yeah.
black beans and
I
rice.
like
and,
everything too.
No,
the
you're
steak,
fine.
the
But there's
pounded
a
steak.
Do you have
there's
a Cuban sandwich?
we have a Cuban, of course. Yeah,
Okay,
yes.
so Ron and I will come.
Yes.
It's like our favorite thing.
Yes. No, we
And they
have
have
Cuban
this great
sandwich.
pounded steak. It makes me think of what you said your mom used to do all the time with the rice, the beans, and you take 1 pound of steak and you feed 25 people with it. They don't. It's a huge portion. It feeds one, but amazing.
We were
And
talking
she
about
knows
this.
what, they know what I'm talking about.
We were talking about this yesterday.
Which
Frijoles con
Which one,
con
she says?
arroz.
Well,
We used to put 2 eggs.
With 2 eggs.
I know that's not Cuban. That's Puerto
Puerto
Rican.
Rican.
Yeah, with eggs. I mean, you're just talking about, but what kind of steak? There's a chicken steak that we pounded out flat, the vite de pollo, and then the palomilla, which is the minute steak.
That
that's
one.
also
The palomilla.
Yeah, palomilla.
My mother used to use that bad. She used to beat that bad.
You're gonna love it. I'm telling you.
But you know, it's difficult because ever since I came from New York to Florida, there's been an adjustment. The Cuban food has gotten better. The other stuff not as much. But now I kind of like the Cuban food, and now that I know you're not too far from my house or my son's house, nice place to meet
Yeah.
and get organized and maybe throw some ideas at you, having authors and stuff like that come into the house, changing the environment a little bit, letting people know it's okay to come out.
Absolutely.
The food is fantastic.
Food is fantastic. Steve, we had to start drinking a little early because you tuned into the beginning of the show. It's been a fun, freaky Friday is what it's been at that cafe. So the bar opened a little bit early today.
If you were the Pope,
That's
I'd
all
go
right.
to
Cheers.
So cheers, everyone. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Dr. Laura, how do people get your book?
Everybody can go to my website at www.lauraellick.com, and there's lots of juicy information on there.
And Amy, your books.
AmyMinty.com, and then Amazon, just put in my name, Amy Minty.
And Raina, how do people find you and to help with their teens?
Yes. You can find me on therosegrows.com, and my email is Raina, R-A-Y-N-A, Raina @therosegrows.com. Looking forward to chatting and have an incredible weekend.
And Jay, where do people find your art? I feel like I'm hosting a party here.
Well, they can find them here, but they can also find it at coloredpencilartist.com.
Fantastic. You can always find it here as well. And Padrinos, you have how many locations?
We have 6 locations. Everything can be found on our website, padrinos.com, PADRINOS.com.
I love it. Steve, thank you so much. What a great connection. What a great Friday.
Steve,
Thank you.
Gubbarum.com, right?
Gubbarum.com.
Gubbarum.com.
And Steve, I'm going to be going to the liquor store, Boca Liquors.
Boca Liquors.
I'm going to be checking them out this weekend. Boca Liquors is especially for women. You don't have to,
A women-owned liquor store.
It's a women-owned liquor store. You don't have to be afraid to go in there. And Steve, they want to do a tasting with you. I need to call you afterwards, but I'm going to be checking it out this weekend. And I'm definitely going to the movies this weekend. I'm going to have dinner and the movies.
All right,
I'm
more
gonna
to
be
come.
doing my Macarena.
Have a great weekend, everyone. Tune in 2:30 to the Editor's Desk with Brenda Warren. At 3 o'clock, the Florida Love Show. We've got Momentum Mindset at 5:30. 6 o'clock, you've got Out of This World. And 7 o'clock, you can listen to the Brooklyn Cafe Show after hours on WWNN. So a full-packed day. Have a great weekend, everyone. Be safe. Be kind to each other. If you are of the Jewish faith, have an easy fast. And may you have a year of good health and happiness and prosperity.
And for me, don't be late. See you Monday.
Bye-bye.
Well, that's about it for today. Even though the show is over, the Brooklyn Cafe is always open for business. You're invited to join the fun every day from 12 to 2. If you missed some of the laughs from today, Dawn and Freddie S. will bring more good cheer next time. You can follow the Brooklyn Cafe on Facebook at the Brooklyn Cafe TV to rewatch every minute of the show. Well, see you next time.
Sleepless nights, I wait for you to bring me back to life. In my electric eyes, it doesn't mean that time can pick in every single breath. I want to unfreeze my heart and fly away. That's why I wanna save your moons and craters. Open up my eyes, waterfalls of ice, sweeping me away like an avalanche. Helpless as I fall, the words can't say it all, sweeping me away like an avalanche, like an avalanche. I listen for a sound waiting deep inside my maze of sweeping thrills and colors, just to reapply.